And welcome to the Friday morning edition of Top Story. And of course, 2 full days left now for the municipal election. And we certainly want you to get out and vote on Monday for your favorite ward representative and your mayor's representative as well. Joining us in the studios live this morning, Ted Johnston, who's running for mayor. How have you been feeling about the campaign so far? We're coming down to the crunch now.
In my opinion, it started rough. But as I got more into it and got more involved, it started looking better and better. This is so different in feel from 4 years ago. 4 years ago, there just wasn't the activity level that there is today. Everything seemed lackluster and, for the lack of a better word, even boring. This time around, there's been 3 debates. 2 of those debates were organized in large part by young people. So we've got engagement on the part of people who are youthful and vibrant, and they want to see change. They want to see improvement in their city. They're full of ideas. They just need a way to translate it into reality. So I mean, it's great that we have gotten this this revitalization in the election process. I'm very happy with it.
Well, you know what? You read the stats from the last municipal election and how few voters who were eligible came out. It's so frustrating to me. It's good that you have the perspective after this campaign's almost complete, that the youth are paying attention.
And you know, we're not done. There's 2 days left here on the weekend.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I'm still going to try and get people to go out and vote. I've said many times in either written articles or in person that, you know, we all know somebody who isn't going to vote. Make them vote. Like,
Go pick them up and bring them.
Bring them, yeah. Like, you know, do whatever you can to get people out to vote. At one of the debates, a moderator made a comment that, you know, you must exercise your right to vote. I'm going to say thank you for that comment. However, I'm going to say you should look at it differently. You should look at it as a duty to vote.
Ah, that's interesting.
The 2 words mean
that's stronger, isn't it?
The 2 words mean a little different. And we have in this country a constitutional democracy. And our Constitution is something that has probably not been read by very many Canadians, but it should be, because that should govern our thoughts toward government. Now, the Constitution isn't perfect, and if it were perfect, it would have been ratified by all the provinces. It wasn't.
That's right.
So it's not perfect.
That's a whole other subject,
but
right?
it does exist, and it does have a core set of values in it that Canadians should be looking at to run their country at every level. We spend a lot of time dividing ourselves. We're Easterners or Westerners, we're French or we're English, we're
Liberals,
Aboriginal.
Conservatives.
Right. So all of these different things. Stop that. We're Canadians. Let's be Canadians. Let's make our society the way we want it in regards to our values and make it think we can make a better community. We just have to want to make a better community and have the political will to get out and make that community.
Now, from my perspective as a journalist, what do you think media in general, but obviously we're talking municipal elections, so here at home closer to what affects us on a daily basis, how can we send the message about proud Canadians and the Constitution and your duty to vote? How can we transfer that message?
As a journalist, part of the role is that you be an educator. You have to make the assumption that at least a good portion of your audience is ignorant of what you're trying to educate them on. If you take that approach, you're going to probably look a little more carefully at what information you have available, and is there another source that you can use? Is there another avenue you can take? Can you get a personal view on it? Can somebody come and talk to you? I lived next door to a gentleman when I lived in Grand Prairie who was a German soldier in the Second World War. I learned a great deal about things because I was able to talk to somebody who was on the other side. You know, I heard my father's version of things from my father, but to hear his version of things from his side, it opened my eyes to whole new possibilities. If you can find that kind of story, then you know you're going to connect with some people and get something happening. The other thing, of course, is do a little bit of investigating on what's going on. You know, you hear that council is about to vote on a decision on a matter that's before council. You know, before that takes place, see if you can't educate the public on what's going on. I would love to see the gallery filled when a vote is being taken, so that people can say, you know, I came here because this means something to me. You know, I'd like to see that sort of thing happen.
I've noticed throughout your campaign, because we've been lucky enough to have you as guest, and you took part in our debate, and that's very much been your message. Get the people involved. I remember at our debate, you walked right to the edge of the front of the stage, and you said, this is about you guys.
And that's true. What we don't understand, because, and I'm not slamming teachers, I'm slamming the system, okay? A lot of teachers today are trapped in the system. They have, this is what they must teach. It's been handed down to them by whatever board or level jurisdiction, and they can't deviate very much from that. What needs to happen is, in that block of stuff that they need to teach, they have to start teaching about democracy, about participation in democracy, about how much our democracy has cost us. There are tens of thousands of crosses in Europe belonging to Canadians who sacrificed their lives. Our democracy isn't cheap. It has cost a great deal, and we need to educate people properly in the fact that we here at home have to take part in our democracy. It's designed that we put effort into it. We have to put effort into it. We have to put work into it. It isn't free. It does cost you. It costs you time. It costs you energy. And if you're not willing to put that time and energy in, you're making your community less prosperous than it could be.
Now, speaking of time and energy and a prosperous community, how do you feel the tone of this municipal campaign has been, especially for the mayoral race? It's been very public. That's why I'm asking.
It has been very public. And you've heard, for lack of a better word, arguments at pretty much every level. You know, I would have liked more focus on what I call the real issues, rather than the he said, she said type of arguments. In our case, it's a he said type of argument. But, you know, there's been a lot of arguing over numbers and things like that. Yes, there's going to be disagreements. Yes, there's going to be multiple sets of things. But when it comes right down to it, the root causes of our issues aren't the things that a lot of people are trying to bring forward. You know, well, fix the roads. Yes, we need to fix the roads, but fixing the roads is a symptom of the problem. It is not the problem. The problem is that we've had infrastructure underfunded for some time now, not just the last 4 years, but for time in the past. We're behind on that. Money has been spent where it shouldn't have been spent. The Municipal Act and the Municipal Councillor's Guide very clearly outline what is the role of mayor and what is the role of council. And they are supposed to fund core services. They are not supposed to fund things that are not core services. Things that are not core services are supposed to be funded by alternate means. Roads are a core service. No one's going to ever do without them. Lighting, sewage, police and fire service, emergency services, those are core services. No one's going to ever do without them. If you ask the public what a core service is, you're going to get slightly different
Certainly.
things from different people. Some people will say something should be included on it, and others won't. You have to go by the majority rules aspect of democracy and say, okay, here's what the majority of the public says are our core services. Here's what we're going to fund fully. If there is any money left after that, then this, and this can be put on the list. And otherwise, we've got to work very hard to try and find alternate sources of funding for these things that have dropped off the core services list. That is what mayor and council is supposed to do. Another thing they are supposed to do is they're supposed to set policy. They are not supposed to dabble in what the bureaucracy does. They are supposed to set policy for the bureaucracy, and then the bureaucracy is supposed to carry out that task. And here, I will commend a lot of our city staff. I think they have done an excellent job in their roles. They would have done that no matter who was sitting on mayor and council. I try to get that across to people, that you don't seem to understand that city staff is going to do their job, whether it's me sitting there or someone else. City staff is still going to do that job because that is their job, and that is what they are trained to do, that is what they are experienced to do, and that is what they are expected to do. But you must set policy that the staff follow. You must review that policy on a regular and ongoing basis. When I first came up to Sault Ste. Marie, I was appalled to learn that there are things that have been on the books for 10 years and have never been reviewed. I'm sorry, that's not updating your policy at a reasonable pace. The world changes a lot in 10 years. You think back to the last 10 years, how many changes you have seen. It's immense. And that's only going to accelerate and get faster all the time. We need to set up a system at City Hall where everything gets reviewed at regular intervals. Everything has a reassessment date, and then on that reassessment date it comes back to whatever group is responsible for it to review it and update it and then put back into place, and it will come up again in another 2, 3, 5 years, whatever the case may be. We need to get all that set up at City Hall if we're going to move forward and get things working better.
Well, I certainly wish you the best of luck and continued good, strong, hard work in the next couple of days. And all the best. Thanks so much for coming by for Top Story this morning.
I appreciate you inviting me in.
We'll be right back on Top Story. Coming up.